Hi, my name is Corinne Robinson, and this is my interview project. So, the first question is just simply tell me about yourself. Before I get into this, I just briefly wanted to mention the Wall Street Journal. We were talking about the stock market specifically in the article that was talking about how the stock market has taken a very big hit, especially this week. It's gotten even worse just due to the coronavirus and how businesses are not really able to operate at this point the way they normally would. And we were discussing that a recession is basically inevitable at this point. And this is definitely something to be concerned about because I think it's going to take a long time for our economy to fully recover, and it's going to take a lot of people trying to figure out different efficient ways to get everything back on track after the virus is subsided, or at least the situation is a little bit less intense. Right now it's very highly intense since it's kind of getting spread a lot in America, more so now than it was before. So I feel like there's a bigger focus on how can America's economy recover after everything is over. First question, tell me about yourself. So I'm currently 20 years old. I'm a sophomore at Temple. I'm in the Fox School of Business, and my major is business management. And I want a career in this field because I've just always been interested in being a manager of entertainment talent. So I always was a big fan of music. I grew up playing music, so I wanted to do something career-wise that incorporated music or the music industry. So I would like to become an entertainment manager for musicians as well as athletes, because obviously I love sports too. And I also would like to expand to acting talent, modeling talent. So entertainment management in general is my intended career path after graduation. So that's what I hope to achieve. And just briefly going to talk about some of my skills. I think with time management, I have learned a lot from college especially, but just even before that, I was always a very busy person with a very full schedule pretty much since before I could remember. That's just always how it's been. I've always been involved with several activities outside of school and very concerned and diligent about my schoolwork. So I've always been pretty good about balancing my time and managing it well. For example, in high school, I was dancing pretty much every night of the week for 3 to 5 hours, I would say, especially when it was rehearsal time. So I would basically come right home, do my homework, go to dance for a few hours, come back, do more homework, go to bed, do the same thing the next day. So I've always been on top of making sure I get done what I have to get done in abbreviated time periods, just because I haven't always had a full enough schedule to maybe take as much time as I would like to with certain things. And then another skill, I think I'm very good with handling relationship conflict in regards to teams and group projects. I feel like whenever there's been issues for me with groups, I've kind of been able to bring everybody back on the same page, just because people look to me as a leader, and I think when I'm in a group, people kind of get that vibe from me that I just have those type of leadership skills just naturally, and I will just take a lot of stuff upon myself and just get what work done I think needs to be done. And so people, I think, just naturally see me in a leadership role. So the next question is a significant accomplishment in my life. So for this one, I think I would say at Coastal last year, when I was still there for my freshman year, I was able to maintain a 4.0 GPA throughout the entire 2 semesters there. So this for me was a huge accomplishment, especially because coming to a school so far away from home, it was a huge adjustment. I really didn't know anyone. I didn't really know what to expect at all, and I thought college was just going to be super intense right away. So I just was the days of getting all A's are going to be over as soon as I get to college. But For me, this fortunately wasn't the case. I was able to balance my social life, my academic life, also my fitness. Like, I'm very involved with going to the gym, things like that. So I've just been able to balance those things well. And I also had a job on campus, so I was still able to focus on my studies and make that a big priority because that's obviously what I was there for. So my grades always came first for me, and getting a 4.0 was just very rewarding because it was just reflective for me. Like, I know I put in the work to deserve that, so it was just a good payoff, intrinsically and extrinsically, obviously. So I think that's definitely one of my most significant accomplishments. And also, I think it's important because at that school there's obviously a beach 15 minutes away, so that's a lot of room for distraction. So if I felt myself getting distracted at any point, I knew that, like, okay, I'm here for academics. So I was able to pull myself back to focusing on that, prioritizing that, and handling my time management well and maintaining good grades. So I'm definitely very proud of being able to get a 4.0 last year. And then the last question, something I've learned in this class, I was just going to discuss some things about leadership because that was one of the most recent things that we were talking about in class, and I think it's very relevant to pretty much all aspects of life and just how you interact with people and how that actually affects them. So we talked a lot about transformational leadership. That was one of our main focuses in class, and I learned that this form of leadership, to me, I interpreted that it was the most effective in most situations in general. I kind of just broadly was like, okay, transformational seems like it actually has an impact on the followers as well as the leaders, and I think it fosters the most productivity compared to some of the other leadership styles. This is just because transformational leaders are focused on providing an enriching experience for the employees, so they're intellectually stimulated and they're actually motivated to do the work that they are there for, because with transformational leaders, they're allowing employees to actually progress in their career and better themselves, so they're gaining something besides just the paycheck. Or in regards to transactional leadership, I feel like it's more just about coming in, do your work, do what's best for the company, leave, and then there's not really much beyond that you're gaining from the job. So I think that transformational leaders definitely have a more impactful resonance with employees and followers, just based on what we discussed in class. And lastly, I just wanted to mention also that I think one of the main things we learned about in class was there's not necessarily one leadership skill or one leadership approach that's the best one out of all of them. So it just kind of depends on the situation. You kind of have to look at your leaders and look at your followers and just kind of determine what best works for whatever you're trying to get accomplished. And you also want to try to make it beneficial for the employees as well, because if it's just a passive or transactional relationship, they won't be as motivated or as willing to go the extra mile and put in the extra work when need be. So I think that leadership is a major, major thing that's going to be a big part of all of our careers. So I think it's very important and definitely worth learning about. So that concludes my interview. Thank you.